Perhaps the ancients weren't sharing stories. Perhaps they were sharing observations. A distant memory, passed from sailor to scribe, transformed over centuries into theology. Because behind every myth lies a seed of reality, and across every ocean lies something vast enough to remind us that chaos is not gone. It only sleeps. The deep-sea mysteries, the Bloop caverns, and the return of Leviathan. For thousands of years, Leviathan belonged to myth, a creature of scripture and story, confined to parchment and imagination. But the deeper humans have explored the oceans, the less certain that boundary has become. Because the more we descend, the more we find, not answers, but questions. Ancient stories warned of something immense beneath the waves, and for the first time in history, science has begun to sense what those stories might have meant. Beneath the calm surface of the world's oceans lies a labyrinth of darkness. There are underwater caverns large enough to swallow skyscrapers, trenches that plunge deeper than the Himalayas are tall, and ecosystems that have never seen light. Even today, scientists admit that over 90% of the ocean remains unexplored. That's an area larger than all the continents combined. A realm that might as well be another planet. So when ancient texts speak of the deep, of the abyss, of a creature that dwells beneath the foundations of the sea, it's hard not to feel a strange echo, because even now, in an age of sonar and satellites, the truth is that we still have no idea what might be moving down there. Some of the most unsettling clues began emerging in the late 20th century. In 1997, the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, detected a sound that changed oceanography forever. It was picked up by a network of hydrophones spread across the Pacific. Microphones originally designed to track submarines during the Cold War. The sound was unlike anything they had ever recorded. It was deep, organic, and incredibly powerful. A single, rumbling pulse that rose in frequency and could be heard more than 5,000 kilometers away. Scientists nicknamed it the Bloop. At first, theories ranged from the mundane to the extraordinary. Some claimed it was ice shifting in Antarctica, the cracking of glaciers echoing underwater. Others suspected volcanic activity or undersea earthquakes. But as the data was analyzed, a strange pattern emerged, one that didn't fit geology. The Bloop's waveform looked biological. In other words, it sounded alive. To this day, NOAA's official stance is that the Bloop was caused by icequakes. Massive chunks of glacial ice breaking and collapsing into the sea. But that explanation hasn't convinced everyone, because the amplitude, frequency, and structure of the sound bear eerie similarities to the vocal signature of marine life. Only one problem to produce a sound of that magnitude: the creature would have to be several times larger than a blue whale, the largest animal known to have ever lived. That realization opened a door many scientists preferred to keep shut. If there is something in the deep capable of making a sound that vast, what else might be down there, hidden in the dark, far below the reach of sonar and sunlight? And the Bloop wasn't an isolated event. Around the same time, oceanic researchers began mapping vast undersea caverns using sonar technology. What they found stunned them. Immense hollow spaces buried beneath the seafloor, extending for miles. Some of these caverns were so large that submarines could navigate them. Others were discovered only through echoes, showing massive voids filled with water that had likely been sealed off from the surface for millions of years. The ancient texts describe Leviathan as dwelling in the deep, in the watery abyss beneath the world. The language once dismissed as poetic now sounds unnervingly specific. If such caverns exist, silent, sealed worlds of eternal dark, could they be the perfect refuge for creatures that predate history? That question gained new attention in 2011 when a team of Swedish divers stumbled upon something bizarre on the bottom of the Baltic Sea. At a depth of around 90 meters, they found what appeared to be a massive, circular structure, 60 meters across, flat on top, with ridged edges and geometric grooves. The object had a trailing path carved into the seabed, as though it had skidded or landed there. Around it, the rocks were scorched, though the temperature at that depth was near freezing. The discovery sparked global headlines. Some called it a crashed UFO. Others thought it might be a glacial rock formation. But to a few researchers, the shape and texture looked disturbingly biological, like the fossilized remains of something colossal that had risen from, or sunk into, the sea. And the coordinates. They lie not far from one of the world's largest undersea cavern networks. The deeper you look, the more the myth begins to whisper through the data. Across the Atlantic, the Bermuda Triangle continues to defy easy explanation. Ships vanish, aircraft disappear, compass readings twist. Many of those cases have been solved: rogue waves, methane eruptions, magnetic interference. But not all, and some of the deepest sections of the triangle contain fissures, cracks in the seafloor that drop into cavern systems scientists still can't map. If something massive lived in those black corridors, it would have an entire kingdom untouched by light or time. But perhaps the most haunting question isn't whether such a creature exists now. It's whether it ever truly disappeared. Because the fossil record shows that for most of Earth's history, the ocean was ruled by monsters. During the Jurassic and Cretaceous periods, colossal marine reptiles dominated the seas, predators like Mosasaurus, Lopleurodon, and Kronosaurus, massive, fanged, streamlined killing machines. Their fossils show skulls longer than a man's body, teeth the size of knives, and jaws strong enough to crush bone. They were real. They hunted whales and each other, and some of them grew to lengths exceeding 15 meters. If these beasts existed once, why couldn't something like them have survived? In the crushing depths of the ocean, where pressure would destroy a submarine, the rules of biology twist. Creatures there can live for centuries. Some glow in the dark. Others feed on chemicals instead of sunlight. Scientists have discovered species thought extinct for tens of millions of years, like the coelacanth, a prehistoric fish once known only from fossils, found alive off the coast of South Africa in 1938. If one relic of prehistory can survive in the dark, why not another? As if to tease that question, strange things continue to wash ashore, enormous carcasses half-rotted and unrecognizable, nicknamed globsters by researchers. Some were later identified as whales or sharks. Others defied classification, their anatomy unlike any known species. The pattern persists: unknown remains, untraceable sounds, unexplored depths. And then, in 2024, a video surfaced that reignited the ancient fear. Shared online and dissected by millions, it appeared to show satellite imagery from Google Earth zooming into a patch of ocean between the southern tip of South America and Antarctica. Beneath the ice, blue waters, a massive shape could be seen, elongated, reptilian, with what looked like two eyes and a sweeping tail curling into the dark. Skeptics dismissed it as an optical illusion, an ice formation, or a digital artifact. But others weren't so sure. That region, the Drake Passage, is one of the most violent stretches of ocean on Earth, filled with currents, storms, and depths exceeding 5,000 meters. It's also one of the least explored. Could the ancient writers have been describing this very region when they spoke of the waters under the earth, of the dragon in the sea? It's easy to laugh until you remember how little of our own planet we truly know. We've mapped Mars better than we've mapped the seafloor. We've peered farther into space than we have beneath our own waves. The creatures we know are only the shallow ones, the ones sunlight touches. Below that lies another world entirely. A world where light dies, pressure crushes, and time seems to stand still. If Leviathan still exists, this is where it would be. In the zones where no ship dares go, where sound travels for miles but sight travels for inches. And if it sleeps there, we may already have heard it. In 1997 it spoke once, a single note across the Pacific. The world recorded it, analyzed it, and moved on. But what if that was not the voice of shifting icy, but the breath of something older than mankind?